Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, we're going to take a look at the top 10 head coaches in the NCAA. They're using the matrix to determine who the best coaches are, which is pretty interesting. Also, we're going to have a little recruiting update. So this ought to be pretty interesting. Let's get into this story. And this is on 247 Sports, the Coach Rating Index. This is by Brandon Marcello. It says determining the 10 best head coaches in college football based on a formula developed by Matrix Analytical's Coach Rating Index. It says the grades are in the best coaches in college football entering 2023. It says, what if you could quantify a coach's performance? What if we could develop a formula and then plug results on the field and player production into a machine and have it spit out grades for a coach?
Where are they? I think they're talking about us. No way.
Says, turns out there's a system that does that. Matrix Analyticals, they've been doing this since 2009 for the first time. Talks about how some coaches are not at even playing fields. Nick Saban, Kirby Smart have more talented players. A coach's rating is weighted by the talent profile he had to work with in his career. Do more with less against rosters or units with more, and the rating reflects that accordingly. It says for these rankings, the top 10 best head coaches, only coaches with 3+ years of experience are ranked to provide proper context. Talks about how a lot of coaches have more than one title. Some are head coach and offensive coordinator, like Lincoln Riley, for example. Talks about how the average grade for coaches is a 60. And to get a 5-star coach, you got to be between 90 and 100, 4.5, 80, 89. Kind of similar how they do recruiting and on down the line. And here's the 10 best active head coaches according to this index. Number 10 is Jeff Brom out of Louisville. Lifted Purdue off the mat. He did a good job there, and he's won a lot of games. And, we almost hired him at one time. He was on the list when we were having that whole big thing with Pruitt. Number 9, Josh Heupel, came in with an 81 rating. Let's see what they say about him. Got a 4.5-star rating out of 5. He's led Tennessee back to the national scene after winning 11 games. He's entering his 3rd season as an SEC head coach, ranks number 9 among best head coaches thanks to the quick rebuild in Knoxville. His high-octane offense, we know all about that. He's 46-16 overall, and he's the 8th winningest coach since 2018. He's won 7 games against top 25 teams, which ranks number 3 nationally over the last 2 seasons. He's been SEC Coach of the Year and a finalist for 2 National Coaches of the Year, which if you win SEC Coach of the Year, you're really the National Coach of the Year. I don't know why they even have the National Coach of the Year thing. Do people even care about anything outside the SEC? They shouldn't. The Vols have broken 23 season single records with the help of Heupel's up-tempo offense, etc. Hendon Hooker, really, he won the Offensive Player of the Year and almost won the Heisman had he not gotten hurt. Number 8, Hugh Freeze. This surprises me, but Hugh has been very successful as a coach. Now, he's had a lot of problems, but he's done well everywhere he's been, except for with the NCAA investigations and such, and his pattern of personal misconduct at Ole Miss. But he's been a winning coach, and Auburn's probably made a good hire as long as he stays out of trouble. Number 7 is Chris Kleiman of Kansas State. They were great last year. Of course, Alabama whooped up on them because, that's what happens when you come out of the Big 12. How'd TCU do in that finals game against Georgia? Can't remember.
Oh, who won that fight anyway?
Jim Harbaugh comes in at number 6. I think that's fair. He's done a great job at Michigan. He did a great job at Stanford. Almost won a NFL, almost won the Super Bowl. I think he was coaching for San Francisco at the time. He's an excellent coach. The Raiders should have hired him, but they went with that knucklehead offensive coordinator from New England who's doing a terrible job. So Michigan, I can see that. Number 5, Dabo. Dabo's got 2 national titles. It's hard to argue with 2 national titles. Got him a 5-star rating, and he's done a real good job in recruiting. He plays in the ACC, which is super easy, but so be it. Number 4, Ryan Day. I think he's a spokesman for Just for Men, as well as being head coach. He's done everything but win a national title in just 4 seasons, etc. Lincoln Riley, brave Sir Lincoln Riley, who ran from the SEC.
Brave Sir Robin ran away. No! Bravely ran away.
I didn't!
He's a great offensive coordinator, there's no doubt, but he struggles on defense. So we'll see how that works out this year. They're trying to buy a bunch of good players. Kirby Smart comes in number 2 at Georgia. There's no shock there. Great defensive coordinator. He's winning with defense and just solid offense. We'll see how he does without his offensive coordinator this year. And then, of course, Nick Saban, the GOAT, number one, and you don't even have to go through his record. He's won like 7 national titles, so that's pretty simple. So it didn't take long for Heupel to get in the top 10, did it? Man, just a couple years here at UT, and of course he was at UCF as well. But he's won everywhere he's been. His offenses have been outstanding. If he can get this defense squared away, the SEC's in for a lot of trouble.
It is inevitable.
Come on, get out of there.
Yeah, it's going to be like that. Now let's talk about recruiting. We've had a bunch of 5 stars in, and of course, wide receiver-wise, I think we may pick up a commit Friday from a 4-star wide receiver. And let's see what Steve Wiltfong has to say about Tennessee. He's one of the better recruiting analysts out there. When it comes to recruiting, I listen to him a lot. I listen to Austin Price and VolQuest. They do a real good job. But let's see what Steve Wiltfong has to say about Tennessee.
Meanwhile, the Vols had a big visit weekend filled with a little bit of 5-star flavor. Elijah Rushing, Mike Matthews, and Jordan Ross all on campus in Knoxville this weekend. So where do the Vols stand with those 3 after their trip?
Well, they have the nation's number 10 recruiting class looking for a second straight top 10 haul. Mike Matthews and his family loved it. Mike Matthews said his experience was memorable. And what stands out to him is the players and coaches are constantly pushing to be the best, and that's the kind of environment he wants to be in. Part of his visit, he got to spend time with Hendon Hooker, pick his brain about the program. Obviously, Nico Iamaleava and the possibility of playing with one of the top quarterback recruits from last year's recruiting cycle is also enticing to him. Tennessee does not have a receiver commitment right now in their class, but I think they're in a really good spot for Mike Matthews alongside USC, Clemson, and Georgia. And I think they got a great shot to land Amari Jefferson, who was there this weekend, and then Brace Staley, a top 247 receiver who was on campus last weekend. I think they got a great shot there.
Yeah, Braylon Staley out of South Carolina, high 4-star, real solid recruit. He's going to be committing Friday, hopefully to the Vols. Looks like an 80 or 90% chance, that's just my opinion, that he'll pick the Vols. But we'll find out soon enough on that. But let's get into these edge rushers a little bit.
Rushing, Blair, I don't know about you, but I still am probably leaning Oregon, Arizona, but I think Tennessee did as much as they could this weekend. He said the official visit was amazing, really enjoyed the culture, hanging out with the guys. I think they played some basketball, played some volleyball, or excuse me, he was saying that, you know, the way that the program supports those teams, the basketball team, the volleyball team, the football team, all the unity between the athletes really stood out to him. And then certainly his time spent with Rodney Garner, one of the best position coaches in the SEC, also stood out to him. And then Jordan Ross, he told me before his Tennessee visit that the Vols were the one to beat. He told our Ryan Callahan that he's looking the hardest at Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. I look at this as a Vols-Gators battle. Florida certainly has had a lot of success in the state of Alabama, but I think Tennessee, they were maybe his first Power 5 offer, but they've been on him as long as anybody. They got a great shot to land him. They got a great shot to land Braylon Russell, William Satterwhite, who are also on campus this weekend. So Tennessee, trying to stay in the top 10 of the recruiting rankings this weekend, could help them do it down the road.
Yep. So a lot's going to happen over the next 30 to 60 days. Like I say, we'll hear Friday about Braylon. And then Mike Matthews, I think we're in good shape with them. I like our chances with Amari Jefferson. I've shown you highlights on him. He's a 4-star and a low 4-star, but he's not. Alabama and Georgia are trying to get him, and of course we're trying to get him. And if you saw his highlights, he's a highlight machine. So I feel real good about all 3 of those guys. We need to get at least 2 of them. So we'll see how it plays out. But the edge rushers, you know, that may play out into the season. You know, we'll see. Hopefully some of these guys go ahead and commit in July. Normally they like to do it before they start their fall season, so they don't have to worry about that when they're playing their games. So anyway, I wanted to go over the top 10 coaches based on the matrix and what Neo thought about them, and also a little recruiting update. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's remember to continue to cover the Vols, recruiting, SEC, all that good stuff. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just boom, hit that little button is all you got to do. And right over here is a video that YouTube thinks you'll love based on your viewing history. They may use the matrix for that. I don't know. But anyway, hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.